Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome to a bit of an unscheduled Robocraft video. Here I was, wasting time between, the updates, waiting for the update to hit, the new meta respawning, the new game mode in its finest. And then I hear the news it was delayed till tomorrow. The thing is, during that time, because I was rather bored and had very little else to do, I decided to rebuild my Megabot. Yes, Bumblebot I was no longer truly happy with. And so I have started production of Bumblebot Mark II, which is looking as you see in front of you. I want it to be a bit longer than the Bumblebot, less box-like, and so it's going a bit like this. Now, this is by no means finished. Originally, I was going to complete it off-camera and then just take it round a few games in Classic Mode, just to prove Classic Mode was still there, but as schedules changed, so shall we. So we're going to have a bit of a gander at me attempting to rebuild a Megabot, and in fact try and build a better version, as the version it was on, although I did like it myself, it's basically a box. It wasn't getting the results I wanted. There were certain elements which are too weak, and so I'm trying to rebuild it better and, well, stronger. I haven't even put this in practice mode yet. Now, this, again, bear in mind, this is obviously nowhere near finished. The front section is getting there, but that's about it. We're going to put it in practice mode now. Oops. Sure. The thing is, obviously, because it's not finished, the front section is probably a lot heavier than the back section, so this will most likely just fall on its face. Because the back armor isn't even added yet. There we go, on its face. All I wanted to make sure is the fact it can actually get off the ground, which it can, which is fantastic. Now the back section is going to hold 3 additional plasmas. We already have 4 going down here, so we're going to have 1 worth of redundancy. And the idea is it's going to be similar to the front section in that kind of fashion, and it's going to be attached here, a little bit higher, however, than the front section by 1, and it's going to hold 2 of the guns in equal placement to these. Again, 1 higher just to help out with the hitbox. Thankfully, the Mega Plasmas are very forgiving when it comes to the hitbox, and that's where the guns are going to go. Of course, currently, you may notice that the blades are extremely vulnerable, and that's something I'm going to work on afterwards. I want to see the gun placement first, then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do the rotor blades. I'm thinking about putting them straight like this rather than as they are, and placing 1 here, 1 there, which means that these 2 can go away and these 2 can squish up together, and then we can just armor up the middle section. That's kind of an idea I'm playing with in my head, but we'll see as time goes on about that too. So let's do this. Now I'm trying to go quite block heavy with this one, because I'm kind of sick now of the little Tesla bots, the ones which just ram megas, and I've seen them one-shot megas so many times now as a medic. It is a constant nuisance. Thankfully, I don't think I've ever suffered from this before, yet anyway, and I think the reason is, if one of those bots gets through a shield, or in most of the cases dodges a shield, the damage goes straight to the blocks, and if there is not enough blocks there to protect the seat, how damage routes, then quite frankly the Mega is screwed and it is the end of the line for that Mega. So I want to make sure that never happens to me, and a good way of doing that is to ensure that my bot has enough blocks. So I'm going very, very block spammy in a way. But only the front is most likely going to have heavy shielding. The rest of it will probably be a bit more vulnerable, and the idea is, of course, I want to be at the head of my group at all times and just make sure I don't get flanked. Now, one of the upsides to this design, to the current design of it, the quite thin design with the centre of mass being here, is that does aid turning, and the blades being so, far apart. Being a box shape like I was did hinder turning somewhat. It made turning extraordinarily cumbersome. So I'm trying to avoid that now and going for about 1 higher, I think, and then that's how I do it. Cool. I'm trying to avoid that now by making it go longer. Can you tell I wasn't planning on making a video just yet? But yeah, sadly, the devs seem to have some kind of issue. I've read it. There's a full article on their site. I only briefly skim-read it since I don't have infinite time today, and I wanted to get some stuff done. I wanted to get some recording done like a good YouTuber, like a good boy. It seems like their internet went down or something very similar to that overnight, and then they've tried their darndest, and they thought they could maybe get out today, but rather than risk it and have a day where nothing really happens and the whole game is down for the day for the poor people who want to play it, they've thought that perhaps just releasing it tomorrow instead is a better idea, and honestly, I would agree with them, rather than having a day fully down, so that's fine. Just means I get another day of just regular old classic mode in its finest glory. Now, there's a good chance that's going to clip that shield really, really badly. Now, let's see if it does. Go into practice mode. Of course, we have one more than our max amount of guns, which does mean that one gun will not fire each time. Oh, wait, I forgot to weigh down the back, didn't I? Well, okay. It's already okay. That's awesome. Looks cool from that angle. Looks terrible from every angle, because I'm not done yet. No, they all fired. Also, I saw six worth of shots. Yeah, there's no clips if I fire at a decent angle. Let's see if I fire straight forward, so if the enemy's coming down the hill, I'm firing here. No clips at all. Okay, fantastic. So that is absolutely fine. So we need to finish off then. So of course, the big thing now is how am I going to defend the blades? Because as you can probably see in the top left corner, we're actually reaching our CPU limit, and there's one big reason for that is just the fact my guns are, well, 300 CPU each, and I've got one spare. So we may, and I hope we don't have to, but we might have to lose the redundancy, which would kind of ultimately suck. Like, really, really badly suck, because that's quite a big deal. Having one redundant gun is always awesome, particularly with these guns, since I think they're still less armor, aren't they? I think they decided in the end. Let's see. Armor is 30. Oh no, did they buff it back up to where it was meant to be? Yes, it did. Good. Yeah, the armor's the same, but I do notice these get knocked off easier than the SMG. I'm not sure why, since they've got small hitboxes. Maybe it's just my luck. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's going to look bigger so the enemy want to shoot it. Maybe it's a psychology thing. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. But for some reason, I do notice that they go down a lot faster than the rest. Now, we do need, though, to change things around then with the blades, because, well, the blades do have lower armor. It's only 17k. They are so easy to knock out. It's unbelievable. Now, one thing Bumblebore suffered from is the fact that these things were essentially stacked onto each other, and with that came the issue of damage routing and destroying two at once with a good shot. Now, so that is something I desperately, desperately want to avoid, if at all possible. So, how am I going to do that? Let's just remove all of them. Let's have a look at what I've got already. So this is the kind of structure I want. I want this kind of look, because I just sort of do. Shielding here would probably be quite good, actually. That would be if I could fit it on there. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad, but that would only come into play once I've lost the front section, so why would I need that, if you know what I'm trying to say there? God, this thing actually work well with wheels. I've basically made a good cruiser, so how are we going to place these hovers is the big question. Now, two could fit here with a little bit of adjusting, not much adjusting. Two could fit straight here. And that will be protected by the front shields and would be easily protected by blocks behind it, because with a minimal renovation. Yeah, that'll be okay actually. So we're going to do that. One issue, of course, means that is now attached to the front section, which is being shot, but it is also protected by a mega shield, and there's only going to be one on each side, so it's not going to be a huge problem if they both get knocked off. And they're both on complete opposite sides to each other, so chance of them both being knocked off early on is not great. And that actually nettles in really well. So okay, so we've got one. One is added. Fantastic start. Of course, by one I mean one set. Of course, we have 4 sets to add, so we've still got a fair bit to go. That does also warrant. Also does, though, give me the excuse to add more armor to the front section here, which is always a good thing when, again, I want to be facing the enemy at all times, as I am Mega. There we go. Oh yes, I'm still sticking to a Mega Plasma on the side now. I don't care if this bot can't be transformed into an SMG. It will. I'm not going for that this time. The old bot, the old boar, the old Bumblebore, the old square, could actually use SMGs or plasmas, and that was kind of its big, ooh, look what I can do thing. This time I really don't mind so much. Also, I'm more than happy at staying quite close to the ground, so protecting it from the bottom, I'm not going to prioritise as much as perhaps I should. Damn, that still leads me to wanting to put things back where they were. Like that. Again, making them extraordinarily vulnerable. And also, shield blast from there would be cool. Wonder if I could put a single one of these down the middle. I don't mirror it. Mirror it while I'm just doing this. The seat's quite vulnerable at the moment, on my ad. Again, we're not finished. There we go. Oh, it could actually go down the middle. Just need to delete a couple of blocks. It'd be this one, that one, I think, and then that one. Oh, we're still... Damn, we're still clipping the shield. And then if we go any further back, we're clipping the gun. So, no. We could do this to put it further down, but I don't want to put it further down. So, never mind, that's coming out of the question. I'd like the shields being here, though. This is a good place for the shields. Side protection. Problem is then still, I still want 8 blades. We could have them here. I mean, we could just have them vulnerable. And just kind of accept the fact that these are going to be shot off. Just accept the fact that these are going to be shot off. Your movement won't be everything, but you've got more protection on everything else. And again, then we'll also be able to spare shields for these, which is pretty darn awesome. I mean, that kind of protects everything nicely and actually makes the bot look quite nice, which is a rarity for me. Also, thinking about, I think I might just put the whole lot, this whole back section up one. There we go. So as you can also tell, I wasn't actually going to originally remove Bumblebore, but how I was going to do the recording and everything was I was going to do a few games of the meta, then explain some of the changes, have a few games of the new meta, of the new game type, and then go into Classic just to prove it's still there, and that'll end the day. And I was going to end it with the new Megabot, and that was going to be, oh yeah, I might as well make a new Megabot then, something to do, something to talk about, and then it's not happening until tomorrow. What is that? Get the other side instead. There we go. Yeah, that's not bad at all, actually. Shields almost everything other than the... Yeah, I think I'm going to just have to accept the fact that these blades are going to be vulnerable, and that's just how it's going to be. Which does suck. I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't. I mean, that really is quite bad. Having vulnerable blades is terrible. That's your only movement type. They're probably the most vulnerable piece of your entire bot, and you're not trying to protect them. They're also your only ability to move. And again, you're not trying to protect... Ooh. However, I could sneak them in here. Could sneak 2 into here. And that protects them from the front quite nicely, but I would have to sacrifice some of these blocks, which are not... Oh, they are connected to the shield. But that is such a nice... Ooh, out of CPU. Okay, remove that gun for now. Ah, okay, this is actually a new problem. I don't think the last time I built a Megabot, I didn't really have the problem of running out of CPU, I've got to admit. That's a new one. Okay. Oof, how does this fly on 3? First of all, this blade will have to be further back if we try. We'll put it in further next time. Okay, how does this thing fly on 3? Particularly with the hover blades being so low as well. Ideally, of course, on any hover, including a Megabot, you'd want your blades to be on the top, or at least as high as possible. Well, first of all, the front's too heavy again. Oh wait, no, the blades are just too concentrated on the back. So let's move that second blade where it was. I thought it was too far forward, so I moved it back. So let's move it more forward then. Put it there. Okay, so move it a little bit forward. And still no. Okay, this isn't gonna... Well, that's still way too far. God damn it, it didn't mirror. Okay, I'm gonna cut now. I'm just recording this whole thing and editing later, so for Lathrix, cut here. And I'll try to place these a bit better, because I feel like this is going to take some time. Okay, I think we're back, and well, I am no good at placing these things. These things are a nightmare to try and place, and we're good. So, what we've ended up doing is we've moved how these blades work. These blades are now opposite, because it quickly dawned on me one way to really increase the survival of these two front blades would be to simply put the connection block behind rather than in front, because currently it was attached to where the shield was, so damage would be routed straight into it, which isn't the best. I mean, even now it's only one thick wall between that and that, but I'm going to just live with that because honestly I don't give a damn. And So a very simple solution would be to do what I've just done here, which is to move it one block back, meaning that now it's connected to this section instead, so that from the front these have a little bit higher life expectancy. And now we've added 2 blades into the centre. Now I haven't tested these yet, Sir and Sweats. I am yet to go in practice mode with the new blade heart, new hover heart we currently have here. Now I did also remove 2 shields from the front. This is because of some issues with placement with the hovers on the side, and also I wanted to free up some CPU, because my CPU was much lower. As, like I said before, originally I wanted to go purely armoured up because of all the Tesla, and I'd kind of forgot about that and started adding shields everywhere. So right now we're going to armour up some of the sections I feel need armouring up. I'm still using full blocks, and I know some of you like, but Lafrix, the other blocks have less, and that's because still in the future FreeGem are still plotting to change the armor values of certain blocks, although they are soon to be 20% cheaper with the update. So if you really want to buy blocks, just wait one day, unless you really need to buy them. I mean, honestly, if I needed another 100 right now, I'd probably go ahead and buy it, but I haven't got the RP for it because I've already bought everything. So I've said so quite a lot today. It's because I have no true direction. It's more for me than anyone else. Saying so is a way of me trying to get back on track what the hell I'm actually doing. Which currently is trying to add armour to everything. So, let's do this. So I want to. Because we can afford a bit of armour on the back. Put it in the best place for armour, honestly. But it does increase the look of it, in my opinion. Haha! There we go. I've also changed some of the TX1 armour blocks to regular tier 10, because obviously more tier 10 do equal more armour than a single TX1. It's a math issue there. So is there any other way I want to arm there? The problem is this one's so close. Now I could put it further back, depending on how well these 2 in the centre actually do. So that's quite well armoured. The front's very heavily armoured. That is a solid chunk of metal. That there is metal. Inside here is solid until it gets to the blade, although Plasma's going to have a field day with that placement. So any flyer is going to have a lot of fun taking out that blade, but I think that's something we're going to have to live with. Maybe what we could do is cut out... I could cut out some armour. And by doing so, add the 2 front shields on top of that. Oh, there we go. We have flight, we have liftoff, and we are definitely faster at turning than the old bot. How do we do in terms of gun clipping? Absolutely fine. 1 clip there, and that was about as low as I'm ever going to fire using the back ones, but that's just how it's going to be. Firing slightly up is fine. And we have 1 vulnerable blade, 1 not so vulnerable blade, but still, and 2 back ones again, which will be quite well protected from the front, which is the important thing. In my opinion. Okay, we're getting there. We are getting there. We're still not done yet. I still want to rearrange quite a few things, but I think we've got the basics of what I actually wanted to see. Now, like I was saying, one cool thing we could do is if we could sneakily... Obviously, we'd have to remove some armor for this, but we could... Oh. There, perhaps? They clip into the blade itself. I'd have to have 1 higher than I want to, then at least 1 higher. Yeah, that would be a fair bit higher than I'd actually like. But that would be okay. I put it there. That actually clips into very few things, and that would protect that, as well as making quite a cool looking like centre tower, honestly, which I'm rather happy with. So, how many P-flops would I have to save? Oh god, I'd say 400, almost exactly the full worth of them. I think they're, they're 250 each or 200 each. I'm hoping they're 200 each. So I'd have to somehow skim 400 CPU from this thing, and that is a lot of CPU. That's a gun and a half. Sorry, well, a gun and just over a quarter, I guess, a third-ish. That is exactly a gun and a third. Oh, because it costs 300. Oh, I don't know how to do that, though. But that would be really well placed, because it would offer such protection to those blades. And look kind of cool. But how would I do that, though? How would I get so much CPU back? By swapping to SMGs! God, it would actually get me the CPU, wouldn't it? 50 each. Could I actually swap this into SMGs without huge effort? Something tells me I wouldn't be able to. I'm going to be proven wrong here. Oh my god, I'm going to be proven wrong here. And that swap just saved 50 CPU per gun, aka enough to add the dual shields. Are we really going to end up as an SMG? Ah, still not enough. Wait, really? Hmm. 5, 10, 15. Oh yeah, of course. That only gives me 300 extra CPU. Bad math there. Well, not really bad math, bad not really thinking about what the hell I'm doing by the asterisk. But it does mean there's less CPU I need to save. So perhaps we could do it. Let's see. Let's see. How do the SMGs even work like this? I could just hollow out the front a bit for 50 blocks. They're actually placed really well. Oh. Didn't see that coming. Yeah, that actually functions absolutely fine. Arguably, no, actually it functions better than the plasma because they can fire all the way down to here and now they clip. Darn it, okay, so we're going to be a gunship again. We're going back to Mega SMGs because that will allow me to do what I want to do. I guess one easy way we could do it is simply by changing these TX1s over. Because each time I change one over, we get an extra 2 CPU back. So changing all of these gives me a hell of a lot straight away. Which is rather nice, it must be said. Destroy that. Click. And we have the front shields on. Of course, that... Ooh. More of a problem with the SMGs is that now these back SMGs probably will have some issues clipping when it comes to firing sideways, like very quickly. Whereas before they wouldn't have had such an issue facing up. With the plasma it'd be even less of an issue because you're generally not aiming straight ahead. Am I going to cut here? Nope, here we go. Okay, had to have a bit of a cut there. Really took ages for this to actually load up. Okay, so let's test. Well, having one gun cutting every now and again isn't too bad. I mean, we only have one cutting at a time, and firing forward still has no issue. It doesn't clip onto the shield before it clips onto the bottom. So I think it is worth it just for that added bit of protection for those 2 blades. Since the other blades are quite unprotected, plus it actually adds a bit of protection from up above anyway. Or I could just go full arm. Again, that is 400 armor blocks we could add. Which could deal with some of the problems on the undercarriage. And way down the back a bit, so this thing's a bit more balanced out. Let's have a look. This is going to be a long video, I feel. Even with the cuts I've been doing, this is going to be a long video, because I'm not good at designing. Designing the Mega is a very arduous process. And actually we need more armor anyway, because these damn guns are bigger. Other than the back of this went on perfectly. Actually the bottom, oh yeah. So it went on perfectly on the bottom, and the back are just a bit too far out now. We'd possibly... Obviously doing that actually make it work. Ooh. No. There was any real way to cheat that out. So, perhaps changing these for armour, having this covered, like a manhole cover going on here, or at least covering some of it just for a bit of blast protection, because obviously now if a plasma hits this, the damage will have to roost outwards for the first hit. Yeah, I think that's probably how they're going to deal with that, rather than shields. Although this is adding more and more mass to the bot, which is already a huge issue, as I'm still trying to avoid using inners and prisms where I can. I just realised that's not attached to the hit there at all. Can I actually make it attached? Good, we can. It's like a hat. It's kind of like a really bizarre hat at this stage. Do I like the bizarre hat? I don't know if I like the bizarre hat. Honestly, that's still going to clip. So it hasn't really made a difference. The fact is, that's still going to cause the guns to clip. I think the centre here is always going to cause the guns to clip. I mean, it's just the fact this will be a little bit lower before it starts, but not even by that much, honestly. There we are. But this does offer a huge protection for my seat as well, which is right there and not actually that well protected yet anyway. Okay, let's just add all the armour we can, then we'll see how this thing flies. I'll just skip this section. It's be a bit boring just filling in bits of armor. Okay, so finally, after armouring it up, re-armouring it up, and looking at shield placement again, I do think if we're going to go with these two centre hover discs, the shield is the best choice just for overall protection from the front, again, which is the point of this spot, to always be facing the enemy. Of course, this does make it more vulnerable behind, but I think this is as far as we're going to go for now. We're going to have some games with it in the next episode, because I've run out of time now. And in that, we'll decide what to do when it comes to actually armouring up the vehicle. I'm thinking, honestly, now I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, which is a rare thing, that the two armour segments underneath the two back blades may be removed, as I don't think that's actually ever going to really provide any use, and that will be added to the centre back here, and that will probably be the finished version, the finished variation of this, but I'm also still considering just leaving that bit vulnerable, taking away these shields and adding that 400 armor around the back of the vehicle. That's also an option. There's of course much better designs than this, but it is, even in this state, with the weird weird placement of some of the discs, I still think it's a lot better than it used to be. Could put these further back as well, but I think for now, yeah. So I'm thinking is removing this armor here, because honestly speaking, it's just going to get knocked off, and it's not really going to provide too much surface area. So let's remove this. There we go, practice, delete. Which gives us almost 100 blocks to play with, and then that can be used to armour up this segment here. Like so. But that means there's at least one more connection piece for these shields to actually attach to, so it's not just reliant on these two little segments on the side to actually hold that shield in place. Also, helps me to protect this piece here. Now that can be finished off by doing this. Now, I am looking at my CPU limit, and I don't think that's going to actually work. That does give me a lot of protection, at least in this section. This section is going to be a hardy piece to destroy. I don't know about this part. I don't know, but I think I'm happy enough with it, though I do see why people go with the heavier shield builds. Trying to put these new blocks on this bot has been a little bit of a challenge, to say the least. To say the very least. I still need to protect this blade. This blade here is so out in the open. I'm really trying to consider places to put that. At least these two have the front section here to protect it, along with these little bits here. This bit has absolutely nothing. The back pieces have the front shield and the top segment protecting it from two angles. Kind of protecting it from the third angle, but having the fourth and fifth open. This one is open to all angles and will be knocked off almost instantly, but at least it's one of the further back blades which aren't as needed as the front blades, so perhaps it is just worth it to leave it vulnerable. I'm not too sure. I do know these are going to absorb a lot of damage, because people are always going to aim for this area. Having these two here will give a lot of benefits. Okay, well, that about wraps it up for now. Bumbleball will remain in this state for now. I'm going to do a few minor tweaks here and there until before the next episode. And in the next episode, we'll be getting into some matches, hopefully doing decently, and of course learning from there. So by no means is this the finished product. So thank you for watching, Cerns. If you have enjoyed this episode of me blundering around trying to design a robot, then of course likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff. Help out me, help out the channel, and of course, most importantly, show that Robocraft is a series you are still interested in and want to see more of on the channel. So thank you for watching, have a lovely day, oops daisy, do take care, and until next time, toodle pip.